Welcome back to danidot podcast. I am your host, and it's been a hot minute, but season 2, let's go. I think we're almost a year to the day since I launched season 1, which is crazy. And I felt like now's as good time as ever to come back on the mic because the anticipation's growing. The support is unhinged. I have people daily saying, when are you going to launch it? And all I can imagine right now is all these notification tones going off everywhere. Danny.pod has dropped, and I'm so excited to be back here, guys. Oh my gosh, it's been a hot couple of months. I'm here to share what's been going on, the good, the bad, the ugly. Obviously, off the bat of last episode, I think it was a 30-minute one. I just could not wait to just put the mic away. I just needed a minute to think about how I wanted to level up. Obviously, this is my baby. It's not just a hobby. Season 1 wasn't a fluke. I actually genuinely enjoy being in your ear holes for 45 minutes a week. And we're going to keep it that way. So I did take a course, and I have taken some time to learn some new software, and I can only hope that this sounds a little bit more, I don't know, put together, because let's take it back to the chime of the first episode's intro, eh? Now we can see how far we've come, right? So, honestly, I've been telling everyone that November 1 was definitely the first day of my 2023. I am wiping everything previously. It was a mess. It was shit. My podcast was the only thing keeping me happy, and just near the end I knew that coming up 25 episodes it was time to call it and just take a minute for myself, because I wasn't giving you guys exactly, how I wanted to drive this anymore, and it was becoming a little bit wishy-washy. So as you all know from what I discussed last time, I was budgeting for a Melbourne Cup cruise. I went on the cruise, and far out, it was phenomenal. I'm actively telling everyone that my 2023 started on the 1st of November when I got on that plane to Brisbane. And I don't know, there's just something about Australia, Brisbane in general, that I feel like I'm at home. And for the better part of my life, that major city has been my home. So I didn't hesitate, but I was also drunk. I don't know if I discussed it, but I brought the priority pass, which is $99 for 400 lounges across the world, because I knew I was going to go on a couple of flights. And I went to the Mania Lounge at the Queenstown International Airport before I boarded that flight. And I was being irresponsible with my pour. Mum was like, "Oh my God, Dani, is there even any orange juice in this vodka orange?" I said, "Susan, I don't care, knock it back. We're going on holiday." We were so ready to get on that boat. I hadn't really even thought about the cruise, to be fair. I knew I was budgeting for it, and it was draining me because I wasn't organised. But getting to Australia and being amongst all my friends those first couple of days and just debriefing, there was tears, there was hugs, there was so many cocktails. We actually all got to catch up at a really fabulous bar called Summer House in Fortitude Valley. It was the old ex-cargo bar. I got everyone together, and look, it was exactly what I needed. So even catching up with a friend of mine that I had not seen since I left in 2019, I screamed that bar down. Like, I apologize now. But no, I think when it comes down to it, like, I have friends in Australia, and obviously, like, they are still work friends. I met them through work, not necessarily school, but they matter to me like 100%. And I feel like I kind of became detached from them for a couple of months there. And it kind of hurt me a little bit, because obviously, even though I live in another country, I was like, shit, how can I balance this? Because I still want to be part of everyone's lives. But honestly, being in their presence that night, it was like I just left the day before. Nothing had changed except everything had changed. And it was so blissful. I mean, I was a happy little Vegemite. The next day, obviously, me and Mum, we ticked up about 17,000 steps going through all the shopping centres, and Mum hadn't been in a shopping centre for years. Well, I mean, when you go to a major city in New Zealand and you're like, it's kind of like a rush job. No, Aussie malls are a little bit different. So obviously I helped her. I was the bag carrier person, and my knee held up, which is great because we really got around and brought some really great stuff. So obviously I was really happy to have gotten over that hurdle. The knee is still giving me grief, but honestly, it's just one of those things that I just have to, slowly recover from, which is fine. I got to catch up with a bestie for dinner, and obviously Mum was there, so I always love when Mum meets my friends, and they all have such a great time. So I loved every second of those little moments before the P&O cruise. And I'm telling you, when we boarded that ship, I didn't really remember how grand these goddamn boats are. But I was a little bit irresponsible that first night, and I'm here to take you on that little adventure. But we were on the roof, obviously, as you do. P&O puts on a departure party as you're pulling out of Brisbane. It's all fun and games. I was drinking pina coladas and Great Northern beers. Obviously, we had this whole thing about drinking the boat dry. It was like totally a vibe. I don't know what happened next, but it was raining. So we found this like random jazz bar on board, which was kind of in the dark. And I went to the bar and I said to the barman, "Can I put a straw in my bottle of wine?" He should have said no. He didn't. My auntie, who is full-blown formal etiquette, was shocked. The look on her face when I turned around from the bar with the straw in my wine, she was mortified. And my uncle was like, "Yeah, good luck getting out of this one." I am who I am and it doesn't matter. So we trucked on, we got drunk. I thought every single restaurant on the boat was included in the fare. It wasn't. The one restaurant that I managed to scoot into for a reservation that night was a on top of charge restaurant. It was Italian. I couldn't tell you what I ate there. I'm going to say I had beef stroganoff or lamb ragu or something. It was something meaty with breadcrumbs and macaroni cheese, but I don't even know. They took half an hour to serve us. Things were getting a little bit scratchy by about then because obviously we were still drinking but hungry because it'd probably been like 4 hours since we took off from the port of Brisbane. My auntie took off because she was mad at the fact everything was moving so slow, and I don't blame her. But you've got to be patient for these things. Obviously, maybe they had to go and prepare something that they didn't organise before. I don't even know. I ran after her. I got lost. Mum came and found me, and we went up to sort of like the top decking area where there was like an 18-hour bar that was a buffet as well. I had the most delicious coconut white chocolate sponge cake of my life and a cup of coffee. I have no idea why. Why I was drinking coffee past 9 a.m., I don't even know. And the next morning, I woke up sitting up in bed with the lanyard across my neck and my handbag on my lap. And apparently, I'd come into the room, couldn't get into the shower because you know how when the boat hits a couple of waves and you get chucked out of the shower, they sort of secure you in with I don't know, they secure the top of the shower curtain to the top and the bottom. Apparently, I couldn't open the shower, so I didn't get in, and I just chucked a patty and went to bed and sat up, and I was being a sulky little whinger. And I looked at Mum and I was like, what happened last night? And she's like, yeah. So I was a little bit irresponsible in a sense that A, I didn't know what level the room was on. B, I got wine drunk. And C, I chucked a wobbly because I couldn't get into the shower and I was being like just miserable. So that day I sort of pulled my socks up and I was apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I was just living my best life. And I went to all the trivia and the game shows and the skincare seminars for the whole day. I was here, there, and everywhere. Every time I went to the bar, for some reason, I ended up back on stage again. Even people like my auntie, who is super shy, she ended up getting up for a trivia. I don't even know what that was. I think it was a sit down if you think that this song was launched in this year or this year. She was really good at it. I actually got up when I think it was the 50s, and I got quite far through that round, and I wasn't even alive or even thought of in the 50s. My mum wasn't even alive in the 50s. So, yeah, it was a really great day of just exploring and learning, and there's still things today that I do from the trivia and the skin seminars that I laugh about, and I think, shit, like those moments I've taken off that boat and I have still applied to my everyday life. And during the course of the cruise, you know, you get to meet people and you see the same people all over the place. I don't know. I made friends. The entertainment director, Damien, he told me that I should have his job. I have applied at P&O for a contract. I'm kind of nervous when it comes up because when I applied, it was bad timing. They already had people for Christmas and New Year's in the silly season, and I was like fully about to be an entertainment director. Um, but honestly, if the contract came through like tomorrow, I wouldn't even hesitate. I would chuck in on a career break and just be like, nah, I'm going to go sail on the ship for 90 days and do a couple of sails around the Pacific. I don't even know. I don't even know. But this is what happens with me. I'm one of those people that has this flexible personality that absorbs all types of interests, but also I didn't really apply for it. I was more recommended that it would be something that I would be good at. So I don't know. No one even knew that I had a podcast anyway. It was just, I don't know, some conversation. But going down to Melbourne was such a treat. It was one of those things where you have three courses every meal. So breakfast, you have your fruit, your bloody bacon and eggs, and then you have your danishes and your coffee and your orange juice and your mimosa. That was just breakfast alone. Lunch was kind of teetering on like, yeah, I don't know. I had arancini balls and fish and chips, and then a piece of cheesecake and a beer. I was a pest. I'm not even gonna lie. Dinner, I mean, we had our favourite restaurants, obviously. I was really into the Italian ones, so I was having like carbonara and like crusty breads and glasses of red wine and tiramisu. So I fully ate my weight around that boat, and I didn't even hesitate for the fact that I was thinking, holy shit, I'm not getting my fitness up, I'm just eating excessively. Um, but no, look, when you go on an adventure and a holiday like this, you just got to enjoy it. And I didn't worry, so it was so cool. But down in Melbourne, there was we pulled into Melbourne about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we actually weren't allowed to get off the ship until 5 p.m. because there was a workplace accident just off the siding of the boat where a guy tipped a crane. I don't even know. It was a crane on the back of a truck and there was a person in it and the truck tipped and it was all this big drama. Anyway, I had completely forgotten that obviously if you're going to enter Melbourne, you have to take a boat to go through the porting system. You try getting 3,500 people off a boat for 48 hours and do it, correctly. There was no right or wrong way about it. So it happened so slow after this workplace accident was cleared up that no one was moving until like 2 p.m. So obviously we got a little bit drunk in one of the bars. And then I don't know, I just found myself in the line and my area hadn't even been called up to say that I could get off the boat. I just stood there and then all of a sudden I was off the boat. I was like, God damn it, why didn't we do this sooner? Because quite frankly, we could have been in Melbourne a lot earlier than we are. So we had a very small amount of time to explore, which is fine because last 2 Augusts ago I was in Melbourne for a cousin's wedding, so I did get to see quite a bit of it. I, however, did want to get back to the Crown Casino and enjoy a duck ramen dish because that casino knows how to make a duck broth like you wouldn't believe. So didn't get to have that. But obviously coming into Melbourne, there was a reason, and that was to go to Melbourne Cup. So again, the next day at 5 in the morning, we were up, we were having breakfast, we were doing our hair and makeup because our departure time off that boat was 7:30 in the morning. I'm sitting there thinking, if we're starting at frickin' 6 in the morning and we are going to an event like Melbourne Cup, like this is going to be like a 12, 15-hour day of drinking, so I've got to sort my shit out. It was so perfect and clean. I fully recommend Flemington if anyone is ever thinking about going to the actual Great Race. It is this really great, clean environment with no portaloos. I mean, now that I look at races that happen around me and they're like portaloo ones, I'm like, oh. Just, it was a 40-degree day. There was 80,000 people. There was heaps of females running around without shoes on. I don't know. I mean, drinks were expensive. It was like $16 for a can of Smirnoff and soda, which is just vodka and soda. But a bottle of wine was $60 for your basic white wine. I don't know. I had like 4 beers and I started to get a little bit dehydrated and the water wasn't cold. It was a little bit warm, like the bottles of water weren't staying cold. So I don't know. I sort of hit a wall a little bit, but I found a family member of mine from just out of Christchurch, and he had this prime position to view the race, and he was in air conditioning with a bar and a toilet and a food truck. So I was like, yes. Um, it was just one of those exciting sort of environments where there was more things to look at than the actual race itself. People's outfits were crazy, and I'm so like I was underdressed and I felt like I was overdressed, which is really crazy. But yeah, look, the great race happened and it was super hot. There was this massive lead up and I just thought, holy hell, we've got to get back to the bus. I want to get back to the boat. I want to have a shower. I want to get out of this dress. But honestly, standing in line with like all the people that were going back to the boat, I thought mum was going to drop from dehydration or heat exhaustion. So I don't really know how the geriatrics were dealing with it because I wasn't coping. I was standing in line demanding a Fanta. I was like, has anyone got a Fanta or even like some really salted chips? I need something salty, like nothing was going to hit the spot and I was getting shitty. But no, I got back on the boat and our room had a balcony. So I sat on the balcony, finished off a bottle of wine and had my Fanta and some chips. And then I actually passed out until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And it wasn't until about then that my actual family got back on the boat and they rang me and they were saying, oh, let's go out for dinner. And I was like, listen, I'm going up to the pantry. I'm getting me some Chinese food because that's what you do when you're hungover. And then I'm going back to bed. But then, I woke up at midnight and the boat was sailing back to Brisbane and I had this sudden relief. I was like, yes, we're heading back. And the best thing about coming back to Brizzy was the fact that I was having lunch with 14 of my relatives when I got there. So super special. And I don't know, I fully rated it like a 9.5 out of 10. I think the boat itself was a little bit old and it could have been bigger. There was this weird moment where no one's phones worked on board except mine because I brought the Wi-Fi package. Yet everyone always found me because there weren't enough bars, I think. But no, honestly, if you're ever thinking about it and you want to do like a themed cruise, between the staff and the experience and the food, 10 out of 10, you wouldn't have even known you were on a cruise ship unless you went near the window. There was no waves. It was just coasting along. It was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've got this cruise bug now. Anyone says, oh, you want to go on a cruise? Honey, we're booking because that was fun and it's my second one. So I don't know, maybe I'm a cruiser and I didn't even know it. But once I got back to hanging out in Brisbane with all the family, it was kind of emotional. And it's one of those things where I think I forget that living in Queenstown, Cromwell, between mum, me, and Tom, we forget that it's just us three sometimes. And we really totally treasure those family moments and catching up. But honestly, it was so overwhelming because there was marriages and babies and new partners and lots of like interesting things to talk about. We even went on a house tour across all the cousins' houses and saw all their pets just because they were excited to show us everything that was happening in their lives. And I'm 100% there for it. But when you haven't been sort of used to noise like that, where they're not noisy people, but just having 14 family members fight over your attention and want you to hear about this, that, and the other, like, it was so cool. And obviously they want me to move back, and there was this big, oh, Dani, when are you moving back? I said, listen, if I end up on a cruise on a contract, I will base myself in Brisbane. We're okay. But no, look, it was just one of those really special times. And then when we flew out, I actually caught COVID on the flight home, so it was really shit. But honestly, sitting in my car eating sushi, testing for COVID, that was probably the shitter thing because I really wanted to go and see my brother and give him a hug, but I couldn't. And then, the next week passed, and then all of a sudden I had a visit from my bestie, and that was 6 years in the making, you guys. 6 years of me sitting there going, when is he going to come to Queenstown? Well, he came to Queenstown, and it was just this really relaxing week where nothing was a rush. I'm telling you, like, you know how some friends are just easy to be around? I mean, we're such old fogies. Like, we would fall asleep on the couch and wake up and it'd just be like, oh, well, that happened, He got up one morning and went for a run around Cromwell and sent me videos of his drone up near Cromwell, different areas. I was like, what the hell? And he was, oh, I just wanted to go for a run. Oh, yeah, cool. But no, a lot of drinking and experiences, and now it's really great because even though he's been and gone, I still talk about things and he knows exactly who or what I'm talking about because of the interactions that I managed to have with him while he was here. And we actually managed to have a wine day, which was so cool. I took him around a couple of my favourites, Domain Road, Terra Sancta, and Tucano. It was so peaceful and just perfect. And it was just like, oh, this is just down the road from my house. It's nothing major. I actually ended up with a job at almost two of the three wineries just because I didn't want to work at Terra Sancta. But Domain Road and Tucano actually offered me work. And again, no, not interested. Do I look like someone that sells wine or something? I don't know. But no, it was just really one of those visits where everything just fell into place. I did have an itinerary for us, but yeah, everything got ticked and I didn't even mean to. I don't even think I referred to the itinerary. I just had a general idea as to how much I wanted to show them around. We managed to go to Oxbow as well, and you guys, I tell you, Oxbow is like an adult's playground, and I finally got to go on the jet boat and the little truck thingy, and the jet boat goes 0 to 100 in 2.5 seconds. When I tell you that I left my stomach back where we started, understatement. Those guys have mastered the craft of having like thrill-seeking adrenaline run through your veins. It was so perfect, and honestly, being there in November was absolutely my vibe because all of them were competing in Movember. Oh my gosh. A whole stack of guys with moustaches. I'm here for it. Anyway, if you're ever down here in the Gibson region and you want some thrilling experiences that don't cost the earth, go to Oxbow. Those guys will look after you. I screamed my way around that place. And it's just unfortunate that the GoPro footage that they give you, there's no audio, so you can't hear what's coming out of your mouth. I mean, there was a couple of naughty words. But no, it was super cool. And then the week after that, I managed to go to Christchurch for my Christmas party. And it was one of those things where we were in the dark and I didn't actually see who, like, obviously when you've had a couple of drinks, it's like you've only ever seen these people over like Teams video calls because I work remotely. So to actually be in an environment at Addington Raceway where the lights are dimmed and people are coming up and they're going, Dani, is that you? And I'm standing there like, uh-oh, I don't know who that is. It was so cool. I really just had the best week catching up with everyone, and November just flew past, and for the best reasons. I was so content. I had the best time, and it just continued after that. So yeah, I don't know, one of those exciting moments. So December rolled round, and all of a sudden it was Christmas and New Year's, and what can I say about that? Well, I had plans for New Year's and then that went through the window. So I just sort of stayed around town. And quite frankly, there was an accident on Christmas Day which prevented Tom from being able to come over because it happened in the gorge and then something happened on the Crown Range, which is a road over to Wanaka. So it was just me and mum, and I got like sangria wine drunk and just opened my presents, had some Christmas lunch, and just enjoyed the peace of the day, I suppose. It was terrible that Tom couldn't get over to be here. However, I understood, and it's not like he didn't try to get here. So it was just me and Mum for Christmas, and then New Year's ended up down at the dowdy old Victoria Arms this year. I am not doing the local pub for the fourth time in a row. I'm just not having it, guys. I've already made plans for New Year's this year, and it ain't that. So, yeah, I don't know. And then January 2nd, I'll let you in a little secret, right? I haven't told anyone this except my mum and Dan because I was nervous and I had to tell someone. I brought a course. When it's one of those things that you kind of feel like you impulse brought, but then you want to complete it because it costs a lot of money to do so? I saw a video of a potential course that kind of stuck with me. And nothing ever sticks with me unless it's something to do with entertainment news, a conspiracy theory, or a trend. So for this to actually be something that I pursued and I'm proud of it, as of Sunday just gone, I have my certificate and I have completed the course. So I'll sort of introduce why I did it, and that's just because obviously I wanted to learn how to market my podcast, but also because I have shares in Tom's crane hire truck. And I thought about it, I was like, we're doing really good with this, but I want to learn how to do it better. And I took a course on digital marketing called the Roadmap. There is a lot of people out there that are saying it's a pyramid scheme. I don't think the Roadmap is a pyramid scheme, because if you apply it to your own business and it works, how is that a pyramid scheme? Because you're only finding your own niche and it's doing its thing. So as of this morning, the day after Waitangi Day, which is Bob Marley's birthday, the national holiday of New Zealand, I woke up this morning to 2 people buying this course off me, because once you complete 90% of the course, you get a certificate and you also get the master resale right. Now listen, I don't want to confuse anyone. There's a lot of jargon, I know, but this course was 26 modules, 250 videos. I started implementing it into my podcast and how to market it, because obviously I have a figure in my head as to how many downloads, or more or less downloads more than listens, this year that I want to achieve. However, this morning 2 people brought this course off me. I am still gobsmacked. I have a store. It's a Stan store, because that's what you do when you want to market yourself digitally. I'll let you guys, know the link and everything down in the blurb of the podcast. It's stan.store /danidot. It'll take you to my Stan store, which is a place where I have started to put all these digital PDFs, which I have created as to how to be financially free. The roadmap is there. The roadmap is so important if you're starting a marketing adventure for whatever reason. It's $497 US dollars, which you cannot change the price of. That it is what it is. But that's about 897 New Zealand dollars, so it's not cheap. However, is this going to be something that you see in your future, helping everything grow? Absolutely. I wasn't even a skeptic. I'm not even going to lie. Like, there's no point fabricating this, you guys. I just thought I've always wanted to market myself and I've never known how. And I've only sort of really gotten into marketing via social media platforms because of my time at Vodafone. We all sort of learned how to do things, and it was kind of exciting to have social media on your phone and this, that, and the other. But to do it professionally and actually be qualified, hell to the yes. And the way I was sort of explaining it to Mum this morning is that I woke up knowing that I had completed the course just this morning. And it's kind of like one of those buzzes where you are waiting for that text from that crush. And you know that they're going to message and say morning or whatever. And you're sort of excited to check your phone. This wasn't because of someone's whingy ass son that was going to message a hello message or whatever. This was I need to check my phone to see if I have had anyone buy any of my digital products or want to engage with me about those products. And that's crazy. So I was at the gym and I was actually just sitting on this, bench seat thing. And I was like, okay, I've got $2.10 in my bank account. And I really want to implement getting a personal trainer for something that I have coming up in a month's time. On March 7, I want to embark on the 75 Hard Challenge. Listen, I know the best podcast that I love listening to, Two Broke Chicks, only yesterday went on the mic and discussed how 75 Hard implements bad eating eating habits, things that aren't sustainable, blah blah blah. The thing is that with the 75 Hard, for me, doing this challenge is 75 days before I get on the plane to go to Sydney and on to Honolulu for my 37th birthday. It is absolutely important to me because I feel like for 3 or 4 months being on hectic medication for my knee recovery has sort of sedated me in such a sense. And I know that I can be so much more better and physical than I have been. So I really want to do 75 hard, and I have done, I have wanted to do this for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And I'm just embarrassed to say that I haven't ever put that time aside to actually do this, because my body and my health is so important to me. And to think that I actually thought there were things that were in my life and that I had to, obviously put first, whether it be someone's birthday or an event or something where you knew that you were going to stuff up and have a drink, or for whatever reason you couldn't do what the 75 challenge is crazy. So I've actually made my own template and popped it in my Stan store, because there is a lot of discussion around it. I absolutely get it. But if you guys on danidot podcast want to find out more, just pop your email in and it just emails to you. It's super simple. Once you get to the Stan store, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just like the most easiest concept ever. I can't even believe I have taken this long to get into it myself. It's almost embarrassing. But I have actually created like a website for the roadmap if you're interested as well. It's dani.digital.com. The dot is not a character, it's the whole word, dani.digital.com. And I'll also put all this type of stuff in the blurb of the podcast, because I know there is some interest. Also, if you've seen bits and pieces about the roadmap here, there, and everywhere, but you've never really understood it and you don't feel like you kind of think it's a scam or whatever, just know that I would absolutely not talk about something that I don't believe in. And the fact is that I marketed my podcast and Tom's truck and it is taking off, and I'm scared. Like, oh my God. The worst thing is that when I was writing my New Year's resolutions, I actually decided to put aside $10,000 this year to live in Bali for a month. It was just like an idea. I said to Mum, I've always wanted to go to Bali and just not pretend like I'm on vacation as such, but actually get excited about staying in a villa and have people like friends and family visit for a week or whatever. And so I was actually deep diving into how to save $10,000 and do it properly. I was like, oh, how do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And then I came across the roadmap course to market myself. And all of a sudden I just sort of had this weird mindset shift. And I was like, someone actually said it's harder to save 10,000 than it is to make 10,000. And I was like, I've always been interested in marketing. I'm super into the digital side of stuff, and let's just get creative. I've never been one to like be creative externally. I'm quite a creative person internally, and I'll always support people, but I don't really express that myself very well. So this has been a real game changer for me, that's for sure. But it was crazy. I put it on this podcast Facebook page that I had brought the roadmap, and I was marketing my podcast, and people started approaching me and saying, oh, what was the course, blah, blah, blah. And then this morning, 2 people brought them. So that just paid off my laptop, which is a brand new laptop, and the course that I brought, to then have someone, go through the course themselves, market themselves, learn how to do things for their own businesses, and then they can sell it to their friends and make the money back. So I don't really know how it would be a pyramid scheme. It's weird. I don't know. Anyway, we won't deep dive on it. If you're interested, these are the websites, dani.digital.com and stan.store/danidot is where you'll find all the information. And obviously, always please engage with me if you want to know anything more. I'm an open book, no gatekeeping here. I don't even know how to do that anymore. I just tell you everything, don't I? Just going over a couple of questions off the bat that I've had stored in my DM since the dawn of time. I keep getting asked, what's this? What's my guilty pleasure? Honestly, I've sort of not answered this question before because I haven't really ever had a guilty pleasure. If I want something, I'll do it. If I want to eat something, I'll eat it. There's nothing that I ever really feel guilty about. However, lately, my guilty pleasure is chocolate coated coffee beans, and I'm not even afraid to say it. There. Hi, I'm Danidot, and I'm a fan of chocolate coated coffee beans. Woolworths or Countdown New Zealand has $5 for 100 grams. I have 300 grams in my purse right now, and I'm currently sitting here thinking, wrap the podcast up and start having a handful. Why am I like this? Oh my God, I'm so terrible. So yeah, that would definitely be my guilty pleasure. If anyone knows where you get really delicious, authentic coffee beans that are covered in like Lindt chocolate or something, let me know. I will just inhale them. I'm so naughty. I always get asked like, what's your favorite part about working from home? I guess it's just the flexibility and the freedom to do like not be overwhelmed with everything that goes with your day-to-day job. But also it takes a lot of training and a lot of responsibility and trust. So I have a really great leader who supports, this, that, and the other, and I don't lie to her. I just be honest. And I think my favorite part about it is that you can just shut the laptop and have a day, stepping away from the computer. You don't have to travel. Like I'm sitting here right now in like track pants and a t-shirt, which is my normal get together for my work from home attire. However, I think my biggest letdown is that I'm never put together to be on camera. And that's a real big sort of shitty thing for me because obviously I want to present the podcast on a video form, but I get nervous because I'm like, man, I look like a bin bag. My actual personal appearance and everything that goes into that, it just doesn't happen Monday to Friday when I'm working from home. I might start getting ready for like a trip to Queenstown in the late afternoon or whatever and go out for tea or, but generally during the day, I just glide in from the gym and just have a shower and then, I don't know, it just unravels. So I don't really have a favorite part necessarily. I just do my job and do it well. I think it's one of those things that when you go into the office and you actually hear yourself on the phone and your peers can hear you as well, they're like, whoa, she talks to customers and that's so funny. But no, I do enjoy it. And where do I get the motivation? Well, listen, I don't even know if this is gym motivation because right now I'm just trying to get my knee recovered and I'm just trying to do like the bare minimal, but at least something. But if it's motivation to do the digital marketing stuff, I honestly, there's something really weird when you're passionate about something that you just can't break the mold of. I brought the course and then I was doing 10 hours after work, after my 9 to 5. I was doing 10 hours of actual, like, I don't know, like research. I completed the course in 2.5 weeks, and that goes to say something if the course has 250 videos and 26 modules. So there was just this light that was ignited underneath me, and I was like, whoa. But I am about to get on TikTok and I need to do this. So if anyone sees the TikTok videos that come out of me, just know that I'm terrified. I do sort of think a little bit that I'm past it in my age group. However, I am going to do it. I don't care. But there is this absolute level of intrigue, and the course teaches you to put yourself out there and to not be, ashamed or anything, because if you're really good at something and you're proud of it, which is exactly how I feel about my podcast, it's my baby, so don't anyone screw it up because I really love my pod. But yeah, that's where my motivation stems from, is that I'm not going to half-ass anything, and I think I've been really clear about that since the first episode. So just a couple of questions. If anyone else wants to reach out to me, I have sort of changed a few things. I think everything sort of centers around danny.digital.com. And there is definitely places where you can reach out. I will always answer questions. And if anyone has any ideas as to what they want the podcast this year to be about, let me know. I am never one to shy away from a rabbit hole of, I don't even know, anything. I don't even care anymore. I'm so excited about this digital stuff that, if you're interested in the roadmap and you want to buy it yourself and you've got some questions, I get it. I didn't even have questions myself. I just brought it. Shit, I'm terrible. I'm like an impulse buyer on steroids. I am. Anyway, look after yourselves, you guys. I'm going to wrap this up here. This is just my welcome back episode. I will get into some more stuff soon. Actually, there was a question that was quite interesting. I had a friend, not really a friend, just, oh, you know how you guys are. You're all my friends. Asked me if I found love on the cruise. Listen, there was a guy. I'm not even going to lie. There was a guy. However, he looked like my uncle from like 10 years younger. And I said to Mum, once you see it, you can't unsee it. And she was like, damn, I agree. So, I don't know, for a moment there, I'd say 3 hours, there was a guy on the cruise. And then there was a couple of 20-year-olds that managed to smuggle gear on board, and they were drinking Long Island iced teas all cruise, and they were just funny. I mean, yeah, characters, eh? I was the naughty one running around putting upside down pineapples on all the doors and just upsetting all the patrons. We even had our neighbour Denise, she had her birthday on the cruise, and I was standing on the balcony of our room in my undies and my singlet as we were pulling into Melbourne, and her husband looked around and I was like, oi, get out. Your wife's having a birthday. Put your eyes straight ahead, thank you. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Anyway, good to be back. I love being a part of this whole thing, and I hope to catch up with everyone shortly. So, bye for now.